Alright, so Apple just dropped something interesting and honestly kind of confusing at the same time. This is the iPhone 17e, and at first glance it looks like Apple is trying to redefine what a budget iPhone actually means in 2026. But the real question is, does it actually make sense, or is this just Apple doing Apple things again? Because on paper this phone sits in a really weird position where it feels premium in some areas and surprisingly limited in others. So let's break it down properly, like a real hands-on experience, and see if this is something you should actually care about or just skip entirely. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like, because I'm breaking down every new tech release in the cleanest and most real way possible, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. So starting with the design and feel, and this is classic Apple. The phone is super clean, super minimal, and honestly very comfortable to hold. It weighs just 169 grams and is only 7.8 millimeters thick, which makes it feel light, but still solid in the hand. You've got that aluminum frame with glass on both sides, and the new ceramic shield too, which should make it more durable than before. And yes, it still has IP68 water resistance, so no worries if you accidentally drop it in water. Overall, it feels premium like a flagship, even though technically this is supposed to be a more affordable model. Now the display is a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and as expected, it looks sharp. Colors are vibrant blacks, are deep, and brightness goes up to 1,200 nits peak, which is great for outdoor usage. But here's where things start getting a little questionable, because there is no high refresh rate. So you're still stuck at 60 Hz, and in 2026, that feels outdated, especially when cheaper Android phones are pushing 120 Hz easily. It's smooth, but not that smooth, if you know what I mean. Performance, though, is where Apple flexes hard, because this thing is powered by the A19 chip built on a 3nm process, and it's insanely efficient and powerful. Everything feels instant, whether you're opening apps, gaming, or multitasking, and with iOS 26.3, everything is optimized to the point where you really don't feel any lag at all. Plus 8 GB of RAM finally makes this feel future-proof compared to older base iPhones. So yeah, performance is definitely not the problem here. But then we move to cameras, and this is probably the most controversial part of this phone, because Apple decided to go with a single 48 megapixel camera, and that's it. No ultra-wide, no telephoto, just one lens. Now the quality itself is actually really good. Photos are sharp, dynamic range is excellent, and video is still one of the best in the game with Dolby Vision and stable 4K recording. But having just one camera in this price range feels limiting, especially when competitors are giving you more versatility. It's like Apple is saying you don't need more lenses, but honestly, sometimes you do. The front camera is a 12 megapixel shooter with Face ID, and it does a solid job for selfies and video calls. Nothing crazy, but definitely reliable and consistent, which is what Apple usually focuses on. Battery life is another interesting point, because you get a 4,005 milliamp hour battery, which might not sound huge, but thanks to the efficiency of the A19 chip, it actually performs really well throughout the day. You can easily get a full day of normal usage without stressing. Charging is decent with 50% in 30 minutes, and you also get 15W wireless charging with MagSafe, which is convenient, but again, not the fastest out there. Now let's talk about storage and pricing, because this is where things get a bit spicy. It starts at 256 gigabytes, which is actually good, because no one wants 128 gigabytes in 2026 anymore. But the price starts around 699 euros and goes up significantly for the 512 gigabytes version. And when you look at that price, you start thinking, wait a minute, is this really a budget phone or just a slightly cut down flagship? Quick pause here. If you're still watching, comment down below. Would you actually buy a single camera iPhone in 2026, or is that a deal breaker for you? Because I'm really curious what you guys think about this move from Apple. Connectivity-wise, you're getting everything you expect, like 5G Wi-Fi, 6 Bluetooth 5.3, and even satellite features for emergency situations, which is actually pretty useful. Plus Apple Pay, and all the ecosystem benefits are here. So if you're already in the Apple world, this will fit right in without any issues. But here's the real thing about the iPhone 17. It feels like a phone that is designed for a very specific type of user. Someone who wants the Apple experience, the latest chip, solid camera performance, and clean design, but doesn't care about having multiple cameras or high refresh rate display. And if that's you, then this phone actually makes sense. But if you're someone who looks at specs and wants the best value for money, then there are definitely better options out there. So overall, the iPhone 17e is not a bad phone at all. In fact, it's very polished, very refined, and performs like a beast, but it also feels like Apple held back in some key areas to keep it in this lower tier category. And that's what makes it a bit hard to recommend without knowing exactly what you're looking for. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more real honest tech reviews, make sure to subscribe and like the video because I've got more upcoming videos that you definitely don't want to miss, and I'll see you in the next one.